What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. This is the Fantasy Football Fanatics podcast, Friday, November 17th, the official podcast of thefantasyfootballfanatics.com. Still no intro music, still no sound effects, but I am still your host, Griffin Palmer, and I am joined by CJ the Hitman Hickman and Jason Cabrera. What's up, guys?
Yo.
What's going on?
Not much. Saw Justice League. It was awesome. I can't wait to see it again. And I'll leave it there because this is a spoil-free zone. Spoiler-free. As always, though, we have an amazing show for you guys today. Today, we're going to be talking about all of our starts and sits for week number 11, and, of course, covering all the top headlines from around the league. As always, please make sure you guys subscribe wherever you're listening, iTunes, Stitcher, Podcast Edit, YouTube, the works. And if you want to support the show, head over to patreon.com/thefantasyfootballfanatics. Get yourself bonus perks, including the bonus episodes every single week. This past week's show, not to toot our own horn, but I thought it was pretty awesome, covering all the best and worst fantasy playoff matchups, knowing which players are worth trying to acquire and which ones are worth trying to get rid of. So that was a really good show. I enjoyed that one a lot. With that, let's move on to our top headlines from around the league. And we'll start at the quarterback position, where Green Bay head coach Mike McCarthy has said that quarterback Aaron Rodgers is making, quote, really good progress, end quote. Of course, he's dealing with a broken collarbone, and there are other reports that complement this that are saying that he has taken some light snaps with a trainer already. So, I mean, if he comes back, the earliest he can be back is week 15. Is he worth rostering to you guys?
I'm just going to say, come on, Vikings in Detroit, because I don't want to see this dude in the playoffs. But if you just so happen to have him on your team, you kept him, you held on to him. I mean, he's Aaron Rodgers. I mean, so you look at that playoff stretch. I mean, I think those are two good games he's playing against that you could be able to start him if you wanted to.
I have mixed emotions when it comes to this because it's Aaron Rodgers, just like what CJ said. You can never, ever, ever discount Aaron Rodgers. If he's on the field, he's going to play well. However, the last time somebody had this particular injury and was rushed back, he had to retire that year. So, I would rather they just let it go. Let him have the rest of this year because I personally don't want to see Aaron Rodgers leave this league yet.
No, and I don't think he will. But I think it's all for nothing because, honestly, if the Packers keep going the way that they are going, they're going to be out of the playoff picture. And at that point, what's the point of bringing him back? I mean, if he comes back week 15, that gives them 3 games. But right now, they're already 2 games out of first place in the division with a loss to the Vikings now. So there's a tiebreaker as well. So I think it's going to be very dependent on the team's record in a couple weeks to determine if they even want to consider bringing him back or not, or just shelve him for another year. So we'll see. 5-4, they are still a winning team, but the Lions have a tiebreaker over them, and Minnesota, like we said, 2 games up. So we'll see. Let's move on to Los Angeles, to the Chargers, where head coach Anthony Lynn said that he expects quarterback Phillip Rivers to play in Week 11 versus the Buffalo Bills, of course dealing with a concussion. So good news there, potentially, if you are a owner of said Phillip Rivers.
That I am.
That you are. Wow. Anything else you guys want to add there? Phillip Rivers, good matchup, bad matchup.
Good news.
Buffalo Bills, kind of scary.
Just get out there and play. Well, I don't know. Buffalo Bills, they show up when they want to show up. These last couple times, playing some tough teams. Well, I don't even say tough teams. Playing a solid team in the Saints, and then just getting smacked around by the Jets. You really don't know what this team is. I don't know. Don't know what this team is about.
I mean, it is the 6th toughest matchup still statistically for a quarterback. And
they're starting, and they're benching Tyrod to go with some Nathan. What is it, Nathan?
Yeah.
Nathan for you.
Nathan Peterman, which was the next bit of news. Peterman. Yeah. Major move there. The Buffalo Bills have decided to go with rookie quarterback Nathan Peterman. They're benching Tyrod Taylor. I think Tyrod's kind of a scapegoat here, but it is kind of what it is.
They're pulling a Coughlin.
With that, let's move on to the running back position, where we will start. Oh, man, I'm so happy this is the last time we're going to have to talk about this. This was so close to being a 2-year conversation going into potentially I almost said the summer. the offseason and into the summer and then into next season. But Dallas Cowboys running back Ezekiel Elliott has withdrawn his appeal. He will officially serve his 6-week suspension. Oh, thank you, God. I'm so glad we don't have to talk about this anymore. So, I mean, maybe the evidence was too much. Maybe he just wants to get it over with at this point. Who knows? But it looks like Ezekiel Elliott will now serve the remaining 5 games of a 6-game suspension without us having to worry about it being prolonged at all. Do you guys have any thoughts you want to add to this? I'm so happy I could do a little dance.
I am happy that this is finally over. It's kind of a dumb move on both parties. This could have been over and done with at the beginning of the season.
True.
He would have already been back by now.
True.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. We said that at the beginning of the season. You know, at the beginning of the season, we said he needs to just serve a suspension at the beginning of the season, get it over with, so that he's ready for later on in the season. And he didn't do it. And yeah. It's going to be out. Most important part of the year.
Yes, he will. So, yeah, Ezekiel Elliott, look for him if you make it deep into your playoffs. Let's go to Arizona, where Cardinals running back David Johnson has said in a recent interview that his surgically repaired wrist is, quote, still pretty weak, end quote. Of course, he's still on injury reserve. Coming back from that surgery, I mean, this is what we all kind of expected, and I still am a firm believer that we do not see David Johnson again this year. Jason, our resident Cardinals fan, what are your thoughts?
Well, of course. I mean, his wrist is the guy just had surgery. Really, yeah. I mean, any other normal human being, you know, we wouldn't be moving that hand for a very long time, or even thinking about trying to do anything physical. So he's a freak of nature. He's going to try to come back early. They're going to have to temper him a little bit and say, no, just sit on the sidelines. You're fine. Adrian's got it. You know, I agree. I still agree with what we said last show. I don't think he comes back this year. I think they just let him recuperate and be ready for next year.
Cardinals are 4-5. They are third in the division. They are 3 games behind the Rams, 2 games behind the Seahawks. And Adrian Peterson is in town. And I think the only reason that this is even a relevant conversation is because the initial timetable after week 1 was that the earliest he could come back is around Thanksgiving, and we are now less than a week away from Thanksgiving. So it all adds up. It all makes sense. But, I think that David Johnson self-admitting here that he's still got a ways to go. And I think that if the trends continue and the Cardinals fall further and further out of playoff contention, much like our conversation with Aaron Rodgers, we will not be seeing him this year. We know he wants to come back. He wants to compete. I understand that. That's the fire. He's missing a year of his prime. But they're not going to rush the franchise out there to get re-injured. So, sorry, David Johnson. And fantasy owners who burned the number 1 overall pick on him. So, you know, it is what it is. These things do happen. This is fantasy football, or football in general. So yeah, let's go to Green Bay, where running back Ty Montgomery remains sidelined at practice on Thursday, dealing with that ribs injury. I still think that he does not play, and if he does start, he does not start for you. I still think that Jamal Williams will get the bulk of the carries, and if Ty Montgomery can't go, they're going to use Randall Cobb in the pass-catching role as a running back, because they've done that plenty of times in the past. I'm not suiting up Ty Montgomery this week. I'm not doing it against the Ravens, who are especially good pass defense, and he gets his hay as a pass-catching back. It's just not a good combination of things for me. But I might be a little bit biased here, being a Ravens fan. So what do you guys think?
I think he... I don't know. If it was me,
Cracked
I would keep him
ribs.
sidelined. Yeah. I mean, ribs are no fun, and they're not going to get any better if he keeps taking punishment, which he will keep taking punishment. He's a smaller back. I just put Jamal Williams and see what I got with that kid.
Yeah, I agree. I was sitting down, man. This is a tough matchup, and they're gonna want to rely on him heavy. And right now, with those cracked ribs being in the background, that's something you can't really count on. So yeah.
All right, so we are all in agreement there. Ty Montgomery should not be in your starting lineups. Let's go to Atlanta, where head coach Dan Quinn said that the offense, quote, will lean on running back Tevin Coleman if Devontae Freeman does not play. Of course, Devontae Freeman is in the concussion protocol, and he has not practiced as of Thursday. All the initial reports seem to be coming to pass where he does not seem like he is on course to play this week. So, I don't know. Do you guys start Tevin Coleman with confidence this week?
If I own them, yeah, I'll start them.
Yeah. Against the
Well,
Seahawks?
well, here's the
Seahawks,
thing about the
they're
Seahawks.
not scary defense.
Well, they're always scary. I mean, they're always a scary defense, but they're less scary because they've lost some key pieces in that secondary, and that is going to affect the run game a little bit because they're going to have to play a little bit more cautiously, which may open up some running lanes for Tevin Coleman. So I would be opposed to saying you can go ahead and start Tevin Coleman.
Still the fourth toughest matchup for fantasy running backs. Just putting that out there. So, yeah, I mean, you could make an argument for volume. I don't know because the Falcons have not been the offense we thought they were going to be, and if they get down in this game, they're not going to be running the ball as much. So you could really go either way. It's definitely not the safest play. It's definitely a risk-reward play. So team dependent. If you need a boom-bust player, that could be your deciding factor there because I think you're not making a floor play with Tevin Coleman. Even though there's volume, it's such a tough matchup. I mean, the Seahawks are giving up 19.5 points to fantasy running backs right now. And that's not just one. That's the entire position group where, to put that in perspective, teams like the 49ers and the Bills are giving up 28 to 29 points a week, so it's a pretty large discrepancy. So, yeah, just putting that out there. Let's move on to Baltimore, where offensive coordinator Marty Morningwig has said that running back Alex Collins will remain the team's featured back even when Terrence West and Danny Woodhead get back from their individual injuries. So that's good news. If you're an Alex Collins owner, he has been really a surprise this season, but I am not believing this too extensively, honestly. I like Alex Collins a lot, but I think when Danny Woodhead specifically comes back, he is going to have a massive role in this offense. I don't think there will be a workhorse. I think that it will be Alex Collins and Danny Woodhead. Terrence West will probably get worked in the red zone. I think that it becomes way too diluted to really trust any one of these guys as a play better than a flex with upside. That's my view as a Ravens fan looking in. Do you guys feel differently?
I mean, for me, I think Alex Collins, he's shown you what he can be able to do. He's got rhythm and flow in this offense.
6 yards a carry. He's looking
yeah.
good.
You got two guys coming off of injury. Yes, you want to be able to utilize them because you know what you can get out of Danny Woodhead. But yet, I mean, he's not ready for, as far as my viewpoint, he's not ready as far as gameplay shape. I mean, he might be working out. He's looking good now, but as far as gameplay shape, that's something that needs to come on, and you can slowly work him in there. So I wouldn't be too concerned about those other two guys for at least a couple weeks. I think Alex Collins is still going to be the dude.
Oh, no, I in the immediate future, I don't think neither one of them are going to be playing this week. So I think it's definitely still Alex Collins' show. But I'm saying when they're back and at full strength, I get a little concerned there. But we're a couple weeks away from that predicament. So we'll see. Let's go to Miami, where offensive coordinator Clyde Christensen has said that the team will continue to split carries between Kenyon Drake and Damian Williams. And I just have to say, why? Damian Williams is a bad running back. He's a good pass catcher, but Kenyon Drake is so far superior in the running game. I understand wanting to mix it up and give people a spell, but the way he's saying this is that they're trying to suggest that it's going to be a 50-50 split, which it shouldn't be. What do you guys think?
It's not going to be. It's not going to be. Kenyon Drake has earned that job. That last game he played very well. It looked like a featured back. It's not going to be a 50-50 split. It may be a split, but I think it's going to be more like what you normally see from a featured back split, with Kenyon Drake taking the bulk of the carries on first and second down. Third down, we'll see Damian Williams come in. But he can say they're going to split the carries, but this is a hot hand league. Alex Collins in Baltimore, same thing. Hot hand league. He's the hot hand right now. You keep handing that ball to the hot hand. You don't change your game plan when it's working.
That's fair. But we'll see. I mean, they seem committed to giving Damian Williams attempts, so we will definitely see. Let's go to Washington, where the Redskins have placed running back Rob Kelly on injured reserve. So, big boost to Samaje Perine here. Does this make him a must-add if he is available? Because I think it does.
I mean, I like Samaje. I still need to see more from him. I know the opportunity and the volume is definitely going to be there, but I'm just not as excited about him as I was at the beginning of the season.
But volume alone
Yeah,
now, as a first, second down back, I think that he's
Yeah.
definitely worth a stash. Go ahead, Jason.
no, just that. I mean, he's had a few opportunities to flash, and honestly, he hasn't done as much as we were expecting to see from him with those opportunities. But as you say, volume-wise, he's going to get an opportunity to show who he really is, and that's exciting. So yeah, I say he is a must. He is a must stash. If you don't have him and he's available, I think you should go get him because with volume, a lot of times these young running backs, when they only get a little bit, they don't get into a rhythm, and that's important for running backs. They have to get into a rhythm. They have to run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. They start feeling out that defense, finding the soft spots, and then they can start exploiting it. Adrian Peterson's a perfect example of that. He used to do that all the time. He'd first 3 runs, he'd go nowhere, and then he'd find out where that soft spot was and blast through that hole. So I think that Samaje Perine's got an opportunity to do that. There are other running backs on this team. That's what worries me a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Thompson, obviously, the pass-catching back.
Yeah.
But
That's the guy.
besides that, I don't know who's really threatening for touches. I mean, they signed running back
Mainly
Byron
Thompson.
Marshall off the practice squad, but I don't think he's anything more than a security blanket.
Depth.
Yeah, depth. So, I don't know. I think he's a must-add. I don't think he's a must-play this week, but definitely worth an add. And let's wrap it up with in Seattle, where running back Eddie Lacy has resumed practice as of Thursday, coming back from a groin injury and expected to return for Week 11. So I know I've seen a lot of analysts and a lot of people talking about how he is another one of these must-add guys because he's probably going to get the lead workload. I'm waiting till I see it. I mean, he's got a decent matchup against the Falcons, but it's wait and see for me. Because that entire offense, and a lot of it, it has to be. There's too many talented backs there for them not to be producing. It has to be the offensive line. That's what it really boils down to. Russell Wilson's getting killed. The running game can't get going. It's the offensive line. They're always under pressure. I don't know. Do you guys feel differently?
I'm still JD McKenzie guy. Yeah, I'm still that.
McKissick.
Yeah, I'm that dude. So.
Well,
I really don't care about anything outside of him. He's the one that's getting the touches.
Well, you don't have to worry about CJ Procise anymore because he's on injured reserve. So that's
again. Guy's always hurt. Yeah. I've been a big advocate for Eddie Lacy all year, but he has let me down every single time he's gotten the opportunity. So as you say, I'm going to wait and see. They say, he'll be the lead guy. Well, you know what? Show me. Let me see this guy get more than 5 points in a game. He has done pretty much nothing all year for Seattle. And I think part of it is, like you said, it's the offensive line, because that offensive line is concerned primarily with blocking for Russell Wilson. Because that's why I hate mobile quarterbacks. Because if you watch, they're blocking. Oh, wait a minute, where is he? And I don't know where my quarterback is. And then we get holding penalties and things like that. I mean, how many penalties has Seattle gotten this year? They got to be working on some kind of record. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think the offensive line is so confused right now with what they're supposed to be doing that it's causing their run game to be non-existent.
There you go. With that, let's move on to the wide receiver position, where Atlanta Falcons wide receiver Julio Jones was limited in practice on Thursday. He's dealing with an ankle injury. By all accounts, at least that I'm hearing, he is expected to play. Do you guys hear anything differently? Nope.
I think I've done all those jokes, so we'll move on.
That's fair. Dallas Cowboys wide receiver Dez Bryant was limited in practice on Thursday, dealing with a knee injury. He is expected to play. Hopefully he gets more volume this week. Miami Dolphins wide receiver Jarvis Landry was upgraded to a full participant in practice on Thursday, dealing with a chest injury. That's good news there in a pretty decent matchup. And the Carolina Panthers have placed wide receiver Curtis Samuel on injured reserve, dealing with ligament damage in his ankle. So bad news there. A popular ad as of late, and seemingly for nothing.
That was rough.
It is rough.
Ugly.
Yeah, it looked bad. He got rolled up on bad. Let's move on to the tight end position, where Washington Redskins tight end Jordan Reed said that he had a setback last week and that he is a game-time decision for Week 11, dealing with a hamstring injury.
Do not speak his name to me. Do not speak his name.
I mean, do any
from
of
now
us have
on,
a
Jordan
shock
Reed
face?
will be he who shall not be named. That is what we're calling him from now on.
Fair enough.
Billy.
Well, I mean, that just puts Vernon Davis back out there.
Yeah.
The last 2 weeks, and this is with Jordan Reed being hurt. Where do you think Vernon Davis places among tight ends?
Pretty high. You mean for the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, the last 2
13.
weeks.
13.
Oh man, he's got to be like in the top 5.
He is
Fifth?
literally fifth. Yes, he is the fifth best tight end over the last 2 weeks. Over the last 4 weeks, the last quarter of the season, he's been a top 10 tight end. So, I mean, he's been really, really good and on pace to put up a tight end 1 performance. If Jordan Reed would just go away, we would have a nice sleeper there with Vernon Davis. Yeah, but Jordan Reed keeps coming back. No, he keeps coming back, though, and he's in for like half the game. He cannibalizes some of the volume, and then the position group as a whole for us fantasy players suffers. So it's just bad. He needs to stay out, stay healthy, and then we can all start Vernon Davis with confidence. But seemingly that might be the case for Week 11. He might not play. And let's go to the Carolina Panthers, where head coach Ron Rivera said that he still expects tight end Greg Olsen to return for week number 12. So if you've been stashing him, that's very exciting, very good news right there. So with that, let's move on to our topic of the day, which is our starts and sits for week number 11. And we will start, as always, at the quarterback position, our starts of the week. And I am starting the one and only Alex Smith. Guys, coming back from a bye week against what is the best matchup for a fantasy quarterback. The Giants are giving up almost 21 points in standard 4-point per passing touchdown leagues to the quarterback position. Alex Smith has an awesome matchup. Yes, it's on the road in New York. I don't care because the Giants seemingly can't get it done no matter where they're playing. I'm starting Alex Smith with absolute confidence this week. I'm expecting a monster performance. CJ, your guy.
Yeah, man. All those that scoff at Griffin for this pick, one, if you want easy points, you're welcome. And two, the Giants, do you remember that 51-point game they gave up to the Rams? Yeah, you're welcome again. So now to my pick. Carson Wentz. I'm picking Carson Wentz this week. Another easy point one. Why? Because we take advantage of the Cowboys. Why? Because Sean Lee is not in this defense. And this defense, this young, very inexperienced, very dumb defense, don't know what to do when Sean Lee is not in there. They give up just truckloads of yards and touchdowns. It's downright laughable. So, listen, if you guys Carson Wentz and you start him, which he is, he's a must-start, and this is a must-start game for him. So, that's what I think.
Jason, your guy.
All right, so this one's going to be controversial, and that's all right. I'm saying Matt Ryan against Seattle, all right? And I know. They're playing in Seattle. It's a tough place to play. I get it. It's a tough defense. Trust me, I watch these guys all year. However, that defense is depleted. No Richard Sherman, okay? When there's no Richard Sherman, that means that they can throw the ball where they want to on the field, and that means Matt Ryan has an opened-up playbook, okay? And that Legion of Boom is banged up. The guys that are there are banged up. So this defense is vulnerable right now with no Richard Sherman in there and with the injuries that they have sustained. So I'm saying I think Matt Ryan is going to be able to exploit that this game.
All right. We'll leave it at that. The Seahawks are giving up the 7th least points to fantasy quarterbacks, but I agree with what Jason's saying. They're going to have to make some serious adjustments. They are depleted. They're missing more than just Richard Sherman back there. So let's move on to the running back position, where I am starting running back Jerick McKinnon of the Minnesota Vikings. Now, the Los Angeles Rams, they are a pretty good defense. I would say they're like top elite, but they are a very good defense. That being said, their run defense, not so much. They're giving up the 5th most points to fantasy running backs, and Jerick McKinnon has pretty significantly, I think, solidified his role as the lead back here. Unless they are trying to really just, they're up by a lot and they're trying to seal a win, which is when Latavius Murray seems to get more work. So I'm starting Jerick McKinnon with confidence this week. He is a little bit of a deeper sleeper. Though I think you're starting him regardless. Don't be scared of the Rams defense. CJ, your guy.
Well, me, I like to throw salt, acid, alcohol, even knives if I can into wounds. And right now, once again, I want to attack this Cowboys defense.
Got some homer picks here,
that is
CJ.
depleted. I want to go in there with Jay Ajayi. If you're a Jay Ajayi owner like I am, a couple weeks ago, you wanted to see what this Eagles team was going to do with him against Denver. And what does he go out there? Gets a nice touchdown. I see him getting 2 or 3 touchdowns in this game because his defense, they don't know how to act when Sean Lee is not there. So Jay Ajayi is my start.
Fair enough.
That's a good pick. I like it. I just have to real quick caveat here. I don't agree with what Griffin said as far as don't be scared of the Rams defense. Be scared of the Rams defense. Be very afraid. However, they're not so great against the run. So I will agree with that. But
that's what I was saying.
As a general comment, completely disagreed with that.
Good pass defense,
so
bad run defense.
Very, very good pass defense. And their run defense is getting better. So we'll see. Melvin Gordon is my pick going up against the Bills. Bills have not been very good against the run, especially the last 3 weeks. Just giving up all the points. And it's been ugly. It's been really, really ugly. They've given up 8 touchdowns in 3 games, guys.
Oh my goodness.
That is awful. I mean, I don't even know is there a word worse than awful. I can't say it on the air. It was bad. Let's just put it that way. Melvin Gordon had a bad week last week. I think he's going to bounce back. I think this is the team he's going to do it against, and I think he's going to have himself a much better week. And you guys know me. I don't even like Melvin Gordon, but I still think he's going to have a good week.
Yep, Bills are giving up the 2nd most points to fantasy running backs. So, kind of have to agree with you. Let's move on to the wide receiver position where I am starting Sterling Shepard. Regardless of who plays the quarterback by the end of this game, the Chiefs are giving up by a pretty decent margin the most points to fantasy wide receiver. Sterling Shepard is the number 1 target in New York. He is going to get a lot of volume in a good matchup at home against the Chiefs, so I'm starting him with confidence this week. The Chiefs are giving up 41.5 points to fantasy wide receivers, so get a piece of that. CJ, your guy.
My guy is Tyreek the Thrill Hill. And I'm going to tag team with Griffin going against this Giants defense. This Giants defense has given up big plays in the last 2 weeks. Just straight up bombs. Like this shutdown defense that was just so wonderful and people picked to be the team out of the win this NFC East. It's just been laying down because they've quit. They don't like their coach. They're done in the year. They're hurt. So listen, take advantage of these opportunities. Take advantage of teams with no heart. And the Giants is a team with no heart.
I like what you did there. I've always heard him as Tyreek the Freak Hill, but it's a fun little side nickname.
Yeah.
Jason, your guy.
My guy is Michael Crabtree going up against the New England Patriots. The Patriots, they're getting better. However, they're still giving up a lot of points to the wide receiver. I mean, they gave up a lot of points to Denver wide receivers with Simeon with Osweiler throwing the ball. And they gave up a lot of points. So I think we're going to see Michael Crabtree come out of the bye, and he's going to come out there. I think he's going to do very, very well. And you know what makes me really happy about this list we got here, guys? All 3 of these guys are on my team. All 3 of them.
Oh, well.
I'm going to start them. It's going to be nice.
There you go. I just want to take a moment to pause and apologize to the listeners. We're getting some serious audio feedback, and there seems to be nothing we can do. We've tried everything. I don't know if it's a cell tower or what's going on. But
we're being
Griffin's running his humidifier. It's his humidifier. He's got a sniffle.
You are just terrible with dad jokes. Anyway,
That was not a dad. How was that a dad joke?
because I don't know how else to.
You don't even know what a
so
dad
daddy.
joke is, apparently.
Because I
So
don't know
petty.
how else to excuse what just came out of your mouth. Let's go
That's what
on
she
to
said.
our tight end position, where I am starting Cincinnati Bengals tight end Tyler Kroft. Now, I know. Why? Why would you do this? Well, Tyler Kroft, he had a bad week last week. They're going up against the Denver Broncos. And I know in some ways that's a scary defense, but they just gave up a ton of points to the Patriots. And if there's one thing that the Broncos are terrible at defending, it is the tight end. They're currently giving up the second most points to fantasy tight ends. And I think that A.J. Green's going to be schemed away in this game. So Tyler Kroft is probably going to get a lot of volume. And if they manage to actually make it to the red zone, I think he's going to get a couple looks there as well. So I'm starting Tyler Kroft
Griffin.
with definite upside.
Griffin, I gotta argue with you on this, okay?
Oh my god.
Bring it.
The reason the Broncos have given up so many points is because they played Gronkowski, Zach Ertz. Well,
Zach Ertz didn't play in our game. It was actually Trey Burton and.
I'm sorry, you're right.
Sell it.
My bad. That wasn't even a great game for what I'm talking about here. Anyway, so the 20-point games are Gronkowski. Okay, they played Kansas City. Okay, so you know there's going to be a lot of points scored by Travis Kelce. All right, they played the Giants and Evan Ingram.
Mhm.
Okay, and they played Dallas back when Jason Witten was still balling in week 2.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's why. And I don't see Tyler Kroft as being on the same level as these guys, so I'm not sure I can agree with that.
The only week out of the entire season where they have not given up at least double-digit points to the tight end position was week 1. 25 points to Dallas, 20 points to Buffalo, 11 points to Oakland, 20 points to the Giants, 12.5 points to the Chiefs, 26 points to Kansas City, 19 points to Philly, 26 points to New England. So they've given up at least 20 to 25 points each of the last 3 weeks to the tight end. So, I mean, Tyler Kroft is their red zone weapon when A.J. Green's not accessible. I think they're going to scheme him away. So that's why I'm saying Tyler Kroft has a lot.
Do you think he's on the same level as all the tight ends that they've played this year?
I think that he is definitely the red zone weapon that's going to be getting the volume.
I got a second Griffin. Listen,
All
my two tight ends that went up against them were the lowest on the depth chart as far as waiver wire pickups when Zach Ertz went down, and yet Trey Burton comes out of nowhere and scores a touchdown.
Yep.
Like, come on.
Alright.
Basically any tight end is a good play here. Going against the Broncos.
Yeah, again, outside of week 1, no tight end has gotten less than 60 yards against this team, and they're giving up a lot of touchdowns. There's only been 3 weeks they haven't given up a touchdown to a tight end. So,
Hey, this is
I hear
your
you.
Broncos that you grew up watching here, man. Okay, you can be a little disrespectful.
you mean the ones of very, very recent memory?
Yeah. This is not Peyton Manning's Broncos here. We can
Of a
be
year and a half
disrespectful.
ago.
The Wade Phillips Broncos of so long ago, of yesteryear.
Of a whole year ago.
There you go.
Yep. CJ, your guy.
It's fine.
All right, my guy is Cameron Brake, man, going against Miami. Listen, I know this is pretty risky. I mean, this Buccaneers team has failed us all and disappointed us all. But this is what I'm saying. Look, you got Mike Evans coming back. Got Deshaun Jackson on the outside. I'm thinking. This is my thinking. Miami got their hands full on the outside, so it should open up things in the middle. In the middle, Cameron Brake should be able to eat right there, and we can be able to get some points. So that's where I'm going with this. Hopefully it works out, so I can be able to say, "Hey, look, we won." So Cameron Brake.
I mean, it's a good
Very
matchup.
risky.
That,
It's risky.
But without Winston.
I love me some Brake.
Hey,
Let me some
scare
Brake.
money don't make money.
See, Ryan Fitzmagic. Yeah. Jason,
So
your guy.
remember so long ago, Griffin, when we were talking about Vernon Davis?
I do
Like,
indeed.
So it feels like 3 to 4 minutes ago or something like that.
Yeah, it was maybe more
Well,
than
Yeah. So he was number 5.
that.
He was number 5, right? He's been the number 5 guy for the past 2 weeks, over the past 2 weeks. The number 4 guy over the past 2 weeks has been my guy, Jermaine Gresham.
Mhm.
Wow.
And why is that?
Look what
Why
happened.
is that, I wonder? Because quarterback change. You have a new quarterback. You have different dynamics, okay? And you got Drew Stanton throwing the ball to Jermaine Gresham. Now, Drew Stanton may not play in this coming week. We don't know 100% yet. He's been practicing. They say he looks okay. They got his knee brace on him, all this kind of stuff. However, even if Blaine Gabbert played, Blaine Gabbert loves to throw the ball to his tight end. He likes Jermaine Gresham. He threw it to him a lot in preseason. So I think either way, whichever one of these quarterbacks plays, I think Jermaine Gresham is going to get a lot of passes going his way. He's played well over the past 2 weeks. I think he's going to continue playing well. I'd pick him up and go ahead and start him.
I will say
and
Blaine
he's playing
Gabbert.
Houston, by the way.
Go ahead.
I will hold on. He's playing Houston, by the way, and Houston is actually not playing that well against tight ends this year, surprisingly. Again, surprisingly, that whole defense is not playing the way they're supposed to play. So if he's going to do it, this is a good team to go ahead and do it against.
Yeah, Blaine Gabbert, I do think he will take a lot more shots downfield than Drew Stanton does. But yeah, he's shown that he likes throwing to Jermaine Gresham. And again, the Texans are a top 6 matchup for tight ends. It's a very good matchup to start Jermaine Gresham. So you could definitely make that argument. With that, let's wrap up the show with our sits of the week, starting, as always, position by position at the quarterback position, where I am sitting quarterback Matthew Stafford. I know it's the Chicago Bears. I know. But here's the thing. The Bears are actually pretty sneaky good defense this year. That's what's keeping them in most of these games. They're actually giving up the 5th least points to fantasy quarterbacks, and this is divisional, so they're going to know the Lions. I think that this is lower scoring, and so Matt Stafford's ceiling is capped here. So I'm looking elsewhere if I have Matthew Stafford this week. CJ, your guy.
My guy is Blake Bortles. Listen, I understand Blake Bortles is a nice plug and play for people, but this Cleveland Browns defense, yes, I understand they have not won a single game, but they do have a very frisky defense that plays teams tough. So Blake Bortles does not have the confidence of his team or the coaching staff just yet to be able to let it rip. They gave it to him. They gave it to him a little bit last week, and he threw a couple picks. That's not helping anything, Blake Bortles. Come on, guy, get back on the right track. So yeah, I'm gonna say be cautious and sit him this week.
The Browns are giving up the 7th most points to fantasy quarterbacks, and just to put my argument out there, I'm probably starting him in our league of record this week. So I hope you're wrong here, CJ. I hope you're wrong. Jason, your guy.
Guy Griffin, aren't you Mr. Statistics? Why would you do that?
Because it's a good matchup statistically. Your guy, Jason.
Okay. My guy, I'm trying to figure that out. My guy is Case Keenum. Case Keenum is playing the Rams, and as I mentioned, be afraid of the Rams. In the past 3 games that they've played, they have given up single digits in 2 of them to the quarterback position. That is scary and terrifying and horrible. So yeah, Case Keenum is not going to have himself a very nice day.
Good matchup to have.
Yeah, they're giving up the 4th least points to fantasy quarterbacks. That's scary. I picked up Case Keenum in a couple leagues, being excited about the potential of this being a shootout, and then I thought about it, and I was like, the Rams are actually really good against the quarterback, so I'm kind of backing off that right now. Let's go to the running back position, where I am sitting running back Adrian Peterson. I think that with the potential of a quarterback change happening in Arizona, they're going to stack the box against Adrian Peterson. And the Texans, though they're giving up a lot of points, they are actually statistically the best defense in the league for shutting down fantasy running backs, only allowing 17.5 points to the position. So, and to put that, again, in perspective, the better matchups are giving up close to 30 points. So I'm looking elsewhere with Adrian Peterson this week because you just don't know how it's going to play out. It's a little bit of a wild card. CJ, your guy.
Oh, my guys. This trio I have here, the 3 amigos. Oh, this is a good one. Let me tell you about them. Listen, so the Cowboys, they have 3 running backs that they are trying to figure out which one is going to do some work for them. But here's the thing. They got a really tough matchup this week. The number 1 run-stopping defense. Yeah, this Eagles defense don't get really good things going on with the running backs coming through. So I suggest that you sit Alfred Morris What McFadden, and then this other kid Smith that they have there
Claude
that they
Smith
try to put out there. Yeah, just sit all three of them because they're not going to do anything.
giving up the 5th least points to fantasy running backs. Your guy, Jason.
My guy is Orleans Darkwa. Orleans Darkwa. He's a fun name to say, Orleans Darkwa. But he's not going to be fun to watch this week because he has a kind of tough matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs, who just love to rough up running backs. So I would not start Orleans Darkwa. That New York Giants offensive line is garbage, and they're not going to be able to open holes for him, especially against this very scary Chiefs defense. Don't start him. Sit him.
Can't win with
Yeah. I mean, it's bad. They're giving up the 6th least points to fantasy running back, so I am forced to agree with you. With that, let's move on to the wide receiver position, where this hurts so bad because I have him in,
hurts my brain.
I think, all but one league that I'm in.
do it.
I'm in double-digit leagues, but I am sitting wide receiver Jordy Nelson.
There it is.
Oh,
Guys,
man.
it's a very real problem. Since Aaron Rodgers has gone down, he's had 13 yards, 35 yards, and 20 yards. And in that time, no touchdowns.
Those are catches in one game last year.
Yeah. So
you know,
he's
man.
This week, though at home, he is at home against the Baltimore Ravens, which are giving up the 2nd least points to fantasy wide receivers. And of course, with this being said, being a Ravens fan, I know he's going to go off for like 200 yards and 3 touchdowns this week. But statistically, I'm backing it. Jordy Nelson has been bad since Aaron Rodgers went down, and I do not think that honestly changes this week. So don't start Jordy Nelson if you know what's good for you. CJ, your guy.
My guy is Kelvin Benjamin. The only real exciting thing about Kelvin Benjamin to the Bills was Tyrod Taylor. And now the Bills, they find within themselves to start Nathan for you, Peterman. And that just turns me all the way off. I don't want nothing to do with this offense outside of LaShawn McCoy now. So I say sit down, Kelvin Benjamin, this week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't understand. I just don't understand them sometimes. Okay, I got a good one for you. Here. The number 1 wide receiver on the season thus far is DeAndre Hopkins, and I say sit him down. And I'll tell you why.
Why, Jason?
First off, I will tell you, CJ. Thank you for asking.
I was a little late on that. My bad.
Well, not to me. I heard you say. Never mind. Okay.
Phone
DeAndre
delay.
Hopkins has a different quarterback throwing. Yeah, it's a time delay. Different quarterback throwing the ball to him. First off, okay. If this was Deshaun Watson, I wouldn't be as quick to say sit him down. All right. However, it's not. Okay. That's the stop crying, CJ. That's the first thing. The second thing is, as I've mentioned on several other occasions, DeAndre Hopkins is about to be introduced to his new suit of clothing by the name of Patrick Peterson. He's going to be all over him everywhere he goes. He'll be in the bathroom with him. It's going to be really awkward for him. So I don't think DeAndre is going to have a very good game because Mr. Peterson is going to be watching him at all times.
Yeah, I agree.
Shower after that one.
I think if you're in a full point per reception league, he might still have some value, but yeah, it's bad. Though Tom Savage hasn't been bad because he has hyper-targeted DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, he had 86 yards and a touchdown against the Colts, which is an easy matchup. You expect that against the Colts. But then against the Rams last week, he had 14 targets, and he got 111 yards out of it. So
he tries that against Patrick Peterson, he's going to have 5 or 6 interceptions. It's not a good idea.
I can't argue that point. But we'll see how they might get creative with how they use him. But Patrick Peterson shadows, so we will see. With that, let's move on to the tight end position where I am sitting Charles Clay.
Set him down.
Interesting.
So frustrating because so happy to have him back. But, you know, change of quarterback is one thing, and though young quarterbacks usually, and new quarterbacks, the systems usually like to feature their tight ends because it's usually easy completions, easy targets. So, I mean, it's possible you could get a decent week with Charles Clay if you're in a points per reception league, half point even maybe, but the Chargers are giving up the 2nd least points to fantasy tight ends, so it is a tougher game on the road in Los Angeles. So if you have better options, I am looking elsewhere because we know literally nothing about what's about to happen here. It's a rookie quarterback. We have seen nothing happen here. It's a big risk. So we were talking about how we liked him with the potential of the volume and the snap count from last week, but yeah, it's a bigger risk this week. So if you have better options, look elsewhere. CJ, your guy.
This one might come back to bite me, but I'm actually going to sit down with CJ Fedorowicz, man. Listen, I understand. Tom Savage has just been his face, it just irritates me with him being in that Houston offense.
It's just his face.
Yeah. But so this could come back to bite me, but I just don't feel comfortable starting CJ Fedorowicz there, and at a position where any starter you can be able to get, you would probably want to jump on, but I just don't like him in this offense with that quarterback.
I don't know. With Will Fuller being down and, DeAndre Hopkins being blanketed.
It could come back to bite me.
And the Cardinals are giving up the 8th most points to fantasy tight ends. You could make a seriously compelling argument because Tom Savage likes to feature his tight end. So I might actually go the opposite way. It'd be fun to make a little bet here. We'll have to talk about that off the air. Because you could do it.
It could come back.
It could come back. It could. Jason, bring us home. Your guy.
My guy is the guy that I picked as my start last week and actually had a decent game and it made me look smart. And this week, I'm not taking another chance on him. I'm definitely saying,
why you can't.
Sit down, Eric Ebron. Let me tell you something about Eric Ebron, okay? He has had 2 good games this year. In those 2 good games, the only reason they were good is because he scored a touchdown in each of them. One was against the Giants, and one was against Cleveland. Griffin, Cleveland and the Giants. Where do they rank on giving up points to the tight end?
1st and 3rd.
Yeah. And guess what? He's not playing either of those 2 teams this week. So in that particular case, I would say, yeah, Chicago. No, don't do it. Don't tempt it. Yeah. Don't try it. Just sit him down.
9th toughest matchup for the tight end. So, yeah, it's not a great idea. That's going to do it for us today. Please make sure you guys tune in on Tuesday when we will be back. Brand new show talking all of our studs and duds from week number 11 and then moving on to our top waiver wire targets for week number 12. Week 12, guys, we're almost to the playoffs. Where's the season gone? All right, sorry, losing my mind here. Patreon is live. Remember, subscribe over there if you want to support the show. Help us keep doing what we're doing. Get our video and our sound effects back. That would go a long way to helping us. If you can't do that ratings and reviews help us out astronomically. I know you throw that word around a lot, but it's really true. If you guys have a couple free seconds, head over to iTunes, give us a rating, give us a review. It really is a massive boost to the show. Helps us grow and expand the audience, and then maybe we'll get other people who can help support the show, things like that. And, of course, if you want to follow the show, best way to do that is on Twitter at the FF Fanatics, or you can follow us individually. I'm at GPalmerFFF. CJ is at CJ Hickman 89, and Jason is at Jason Cabrera 13. And also follow the official page or CJ's page for the official the official injury updates going into the week are coming from the official page, and on either one you can find CJ's live stream on Periscope, which is his little hot takes thing, last second thoughts leading up to the games. Any parting thoughts before we sign off, guys?
Man, how about them Steelers tonight, huh? Or last night?
Well, last night. There you go.
So,
see that?
A lot of feedback there.
A lot of points.
I think that's everyone not wanting to talk about the Steelers. So,
Just you not want to talk about the Steelers.
Look, just because I'm a Ravens fan doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
And hopefully, not at all. Hopefully, we'll have the technical problems fixed by next show. It's got to be a cell tower. We've tried everything we can manually do. So, these things happen. Storms, whatnot. I don't know. I'm not a engineer. I don't know. We're out of here. Everyone take care. Have a great weekend. Hopefully you guys all win your games. Unless you're in the listener league, as always, you guys can suck it. And we will see you guys on Tuesday. Take care, guys. Bye.